Posted by you/professional essay 610. My partner, 21M, and I, 21F, have been together for over 4 years, and I recently gave birth to our daughter. We had kept the pregnancy to ourselves until our baby was born happy and healthy due to concerns about complications, as I faced a high-risk pregnancy. We told our families after she was born. While my family was ecstatic, his family questioned if we hid it for ulterior motives. They've always strongly disliked me and believe I'm only with their son for money. Yesterday, we took her to meet her grandparents on his side, and after some polite conversation, they dropped the bomb that they would be doing a paternity test, which he had agreed to. To avoid making myself look suspicious, I agreed to it but later made it clear to my partner that I felt incredibly disrespected. This led to an argument where he told me it wasn't a big deal if the baby was his and that the test was requested by them to ease their uncertainty. Fast forward to today, I was having lunch with my mother and told her about the incident, which left her pissed off and calling my partner a couple of names for insinuating that I could have cheated. My mother ended up telling my grandparents, who, in a rage, told him they would no longer accept him in their house for disrespecting me in such a way when the child is practically his twin. We had another argument about it, and he screamed, saying I ruined his image by telling them. Edit. Some of you are concerned about the part where I hid my pregnancy, so I want to clarify. My partner and I live a couple of hours away from our family since we live near his university, and we typically only see them on holidays and special events. On top of that, I have a very petite figure and had a rather small bump until I gave birth, so I was hardly showing, which made it easier to keep it hidden. Hiding the pregnancy was a personal choice, as I dealt with horrible anxiety due to constant bleeding throughout, which made me fear the worst. Update 2 weeks later. 2 days ago, my partner's mother received the results of the paternity test, which, of course, showed my partner to be the father. They immediately called him, super ecstatic and ready to take their place in my daughter's life. My partner was also incredibly happy since we would now be receiving their support, thanks to the confirmation that my daughter is his. For reference, since he's studying and doesn't work, his family pays for his school and his half of the bills. I, on the other hand, work and pay my half of the bills myself. In other words, he's financially reliant on them despite my insistence that we could survive on my salary. To his dismay, though, with the confirmation of his paternity assured, I told him I wanted a break from him and his family's antics. This is not the first stunt they've pulled to antagonize me. And before this is flooded with questions about why I didn't leave sooner, I was naive and thought our love for each other would overcome their disapproval of our relationship. It didn't, and that's clear to me now. We ended up arguing over it, but against his wishes, I packed a bag for me and the baby anyway and drove to stay with my parents. He apologized that night and agreed that his part in the whole paternity stunt was messed up, but he still felt it had to be done, even though he was certain she was his. Fast forward to yesterday, he texted me asking if I was willing to see him, as he missed me and the baby. I agreed, assuming we could move past the whole ordeal. My family is still against him stepping foot in their house, so we ended up meeting at a park to walk around. He apologized again and told me that the test was done so his family could trust me and willingly be a part of our daughter's life. Though I admitted that I had no intention of letting them be around her until they at least apologized to me. This enraged him, and he began screaming, claiming that as her father, I had no right to keep her from his family, no matter what they did. I disagreed, telling him that if they couldn't respect me, they had no reason to be part of her life. The argument went nowhere, and I left with the baby to go back to my parents. He has since been texting and calling me, saying that he'd take me to court if I deprive his family of access to her. I don't think my position on the matter is wrong, but to him, I'm the jerk for it. Edit. Before any more comments are made about my position regarding his parents, there's more to it than just the test. I had always stressed to my partner that I wanted his mother, specifically, at a distance from our child. This was due to how horribly she treated us both during the first year of our relationship, prior to us moving out together. Secondly, the woman is bipolar and abused my partner, both physically and mentally, when he was growing up, due to his ADHD and being more hyper. This is what he told me, at least. Knowing this, I'm obviously wary of his mother being around my daughter. The paternity test was just the final straw for me. Second update 9 months later. I wasn't planning to update, but upon seeing all the requests, I figured I'd do one. Since my last update, which was around 9 months ago, a lot has happened. As if the paternity test, awful in-laws, and disrespect weren't enough, my partner was also cheating on me. According to him, it was all emotional and nothing physical, although I find that hard to believe. It turns out these emotional affairs have been going on since I was pregnant, with multiple girls. He got caught after deciding last second to meet up with one of them at 11 p.m. one night. He claims they were just playing poker with a group and weren't alone together. Likely story. He was ignoring my messages and calls, so I called his best friend, thinking he was with him, who gave him away. Since then, we obviously broke up, and I moved in with my family, along with our daughter. Originally, I tried to be the bigger person and consider our daughter before my own feelings, so I decided to co-parent. He would come to see her on weekends, and for a while, it worked. Soon enough, he also moved back to his mother's house after his semester ended, claiming our place was too expensive for him to pay for alone. This, although maybe not a lie, wasn't his real reason for moving. Due to his lack of class attendance and poor grades, he was kicked out of his university. This is relevant for later. Fast forward a bit, and he began demanding to have her overnight rather than just during the day. I told him he couldn't because she was still strictly breastfed and needed me at all times. He decided to take the matter to court to argue for custody once and for all. Up until now, I hadn't asked him for a penny for our daughter or much of anything, really. If he saw her, it was his choice, and I never asked him to pay any kind of child support. After going to court, not only does he have to pay me a hefty sum for child support, but he also wasn't awarded partial custody. The court discovered that, on top of not having a stable job, he also didn't have a stable living situation after his mother kicked him out. Yeah, the mother dearest that he was at beck and call for left him homeless and disowned him after she discovered he was kicked out of his university. As much as I want to say it's karma, I don't believe anyone deserves to be in a situation like that. That was all back in June. Now, he and I are doing better. He's moved into a studio, and we agreed that he could have her every other week, plus on his off days from work. Admittedly, it's been hard not to break down whenever he's around me. I still feel a lot of the pain from discovering that I endured so much, only for him to seek solace with other women. But, for the most part, we've moved past it, and we're co-parenting without any major issues. Thankfully, I want to say I've come out stronger. Our daughter has become my main focus, and I've even advanced in my career to a point where I can live rather comfortably. It's not the happy ending I wish I could have had, if I'm honest, but given everything, I think it's the best one. Edit. When I said every other weekend, I did not mean overnight. He only has her during the day. In total, he has her about 8 days a month, just during the day. It's not 50-50 custody, as he still has no rights over her other than visitation. While it may not seem wise to abide 100% by the court rulings, my daughter adores her father. And while he may have been a cheating partner, he hasn't been a bad father. If this decision comes back to bite me, so be it, but my daughter deserves to have her father around for more than 4 days a month. This doesn't mean he and I will get back together. I've made it clear that's never happening.